Good day and welcome. You're watching Sint Maarten NEWSDESK, where we bring you the latest and most important stories around the island and beyond. With your anchor crew, Alston Lawrence, Glenda York, Tiziana Hart, and Mizzy with the Sunshine Report. This broadcast is brought to you by TV15 and proudly produced by Great Bay Media Studios in Philipsburg, Sint Maarten. And now, let's jump straight into today's top headlines.
PSM arrests drug trafficking suspect. The police force of Sint Maarten has arrested a suspect in connection with an ongoing cross-border drug trafficking investigation. Police say the suspect, identified by the initials BAE, is 33 years old and was arrested on Tuesday, May 19th this year. He is suspected of organizing the export of hard drugs to surrounding countries. Police say he has been questioned and remains in custody as the investigation continues. The case is being handled by KPSM's Pelican team, a specialized unit focused on cross-border investigations involving drug trafficking and firearm-related offenses. KPSM says it remains committed, together with external law enforcement partners, to investigate and combating organized criminal activity that threatens the safety of Sint Maarten and the wider region. Anyone with information about this case or similar criminal activity is asked to contact the police station at 542-2222 or call the anonymous tip line at 9300. Government pursues fuel relief and GEBE oversight. Government says it is taking action on two major cost of living concerns: rising fuel prices and stronger oversight of utilities company GEBE. Economic Affairs Minister the Honorable Grisha Heilige-Martin says government is exploring temporary fuel relief while also activating legal supervision of GEBE under the Electricity Concession Ordinance. With gasoline now at $3.20 per liter, the minister says she is working with the finance minister to determine whether increased turnover tax revenues from higher fuel prices and consumption can support a temporary reduction in excise tax. She says the goal is to provide some breathing room for families and businesses while still acting within the law and protecting the country's financial stability. At the same time, government has formally designated the Bureau of Telecommunications and Post, or BTP, as the independent supervisor of GEBE. Once the decree is published, BTP will be able to request information, conduct inspections, audit financial and operational data, review tariff calculations, verify the fuel clause methodology, and recommend enforcement action if needed. Minister Heilige-Martin says the public deserves transparency, accountability, and verified information before decisions are made on fuel and electricity costs. Licensing backlog cut by over 85%. The Ministry of Tayat says the Department of Economic Licenses has reduced its backlog by more than 85% as part of a wider push to modernize business licensing in Sint Maarten. According to the ministry, a DEL, the name of the department, went from more than 400 pending applications and matters in 2025 to approximately 60 today. Economic Affairs Minister Grisha Heilige-Martin says business owners should be focused on running their businesses, not waiting months for approvals. She says government is working toward a licensing system that is faster, more transparent, and more responsive to the business community. The ministry says the department previously faced long-standing operational challenges, outdated manual systems, paper-based procedures, and extended delays for applicants. As part of the restructuring, the Department of Economic Licensing reorganized internal workflows, processed long outstanding applications, and completed the pilot phase of its online business license submission portal. To prepare for the next phase, DEL will temporarily limit walk-in services through May 22nd. Processed licenses can be collected daily between 1 and 2 p.m. The department is expected to fully reopen on May 25th with updated procedures.
Hello, my people. My name is Glenda York of Sit, Sip and Chat and Moms in Paradise podcast. You can find us on TV 15 St. Maarten, TVC Saint Kitts, and on YouTube. Reporting from Great Bay Media Studios in St. Maarten, your NEWSDESK featured story is coming up. But first, here is Mizzy with the Sunshine Report.
Hey there, it's Mizzy with the Sunshine Report, straight out of Sunshine City, St. Maarten, bringing you the warmth and the sunshine you need to kickstart your day. So let's dive into today's forecast and see how the skies are treating us.
You could talk to your family, talk to your friends. Affordability and convenience, community connection, that makes sense. Reliability with experience, hey. For every love, every adventure, number one provider, they got ya. We tell them your data is always on. You can opt out whenever you want. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to roll. Control my data, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always connected every time, everywhere. Money low, but I never fair. I know, tell them it's there. Connectivity, that's what I like. Flexibility, that's what I like. Reliability, that's what I like. Tell them, sign me up for life. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Come tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to go. Come tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to road.
Stay connected to the best of local and Caribbean content anywhere, anytime with the TVC Plus app, the official app of TVC Channel 40. With the TVC Plus app, you can watch TVC Channel 40 live, catch every episode of your favorite shows on demand, watch exclusive pay-per-view content, listen to Voice of the Caribbean radio, and watch and read SKN Newsline. The TVC Plus app is available on all your devices. On the Google Play Store, search TVC and the plus sign. In the Apple App Store, type the words TVC Plus. And we're also available on the Amazon App Store for Fire TV and Fire Stick devices. Search the words TVC Plus. Download today and take TVC Channel 40 wherever you go.
All right, don't miss NEWSDESK. Weekdays at 11 a.m. and 5 p.m. on TVC. St. Kitts to the world, now streaming everywhere. St. Martin Flavors officially launched. St. Martin Flavors 2026 has officially launched with a refreshed vision for the island's culinary campaign. The launch took place during a press conference on May 15, hosted by the St. Martin Tourism Bureau and the St. Martin Hospitality and Trade Association. One of the biggest changes this year is the move from November to June in the summer, positioning June as St. Martin's Culinary Month. Organizers say the shift was made after consultation with restaurants, placing the campaign at the end of high season and creating more room for creative culinary experiences. St. Martin Flavors is also expanding into a year-round platform where residents and visitors can discover restaurants, bars, signature dishes, specials, and food-related events throughout the year. Restaurants now have more flexibility instead of fixed menu formats and prices. Businesses can highlight a signature dish, menu item, or special culinary experience. Economic Affairs Minister Glisha Martin welcomed the new direction and suggested that St. Martin's culinary identity could one day be promoted internationally through events such as a Taste of St. Martin dinner in New York. The official kickoff event takes place May 28th at NEPA, where culinary students will work with participating chefs during an SHTA mix-up. Youth Monitor Framework moves forward. The Department of Youth is moving ahead with the implementation of the Youth Monitor following formal approval of the Youth Monitor Framework. The Youth Monitor is designed to help government make better evidence-based decisions for children and young people in St. Martin. It will support the collection and organization of data on youth between the ages of 0 and 24, helping officials better understand their needs, realities, and overall well-being. With the framework now approved, the Department of Youth is entering the next phase. That includes appointing focal points across ministries and stakeholder organizations to help coordinate data and reporting. The Youth Monitor will cover key areas such as education, health, employment, crime and justice, social inclusion, culture, identity, participation, volunteerism, and the wider environment in which young people grow and develop. The department says the initiative strengthens its commitment to data-driven policy, cross-sector cooperation, and better outcomes for children and youth in St. Martin. Fire officer completes leadership training. St. Martin Fire Department Senior Officer Sherwin Villarreal has completed an advanced fire service leadership and emergency management program in the Netherlands. Villarreal, who serves as Section Head Repression, completed the 18-month program through the Netherlands Instituut Publieke Veiligheid after beginning his studies in September 2024. The training focused on fire service leadership, incident command, crisis management, operational coordination, risk assessment, emergency response strategies, and communication during emergencies. Villarreal said continuous education is essential in the fire service to ensure the highest level of safety and service to the community. He described the program as transformative, saying it pushed him to think beyond emergency response and focus on building a department prepared for future challenges. Fire Chief Clive Richardson congratulated Villarreal and said investments in training directly support public safety, emergency preparedness, and national resilience. Villarreal thanked the fire department and those who supported him, adding that his achievement shows that with determination, faith, and hard work, great things are possible.
Hey there, I'm Venicia Herbert, and welcome to the Community Billboard. This is your space where the people, places, and heartbeat of the St. Martin community get to speak for themselves. Whether it's an event worth showing up for, a business worth knowing about, or a cause worth caring about, you'll hear it right here. So, settle in, because what's coming up next just might be exactly what you've been looking for. Welcome to the NEWSDESK Community Billboard.
smiles you help
Make a special day.
SXM.
Community love and care. Thank you for supporting families
and helping us get there.
To be part of our mailing list, send an email to newsdesksxm@gmail.com. When we come back, we go to our in-depth feature of the day, exploring one of the island's most thought-provoking topics. That's just ahead. Stay tuned.
Let's put everything on the table. People always give their opinion, and you can either take it or crunch it. Let them judge. We give in to the most irresistible flavor. We devour every nugget that falls in our hands, especially when it's our crunchy fried chicken. And let the crumbs fly if needed. Let them keep judging. We'll keep indulging. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
You could talk to your family, talk to your friends. Affordability and convenience, community connection, that makes sense. Reliability with experience, hey. For every laugh, every adventure, number one provider, they got ya. We tell them your data is always on. You can opt out whenever you want. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to roll. Control my data, yeah, yeah, yeah. Always connected every time, everywhere. Money low, but I never fair. I know, tell them is there. Connectivity, that's what I like. Flexibility, that's what I like. Reliability, that's what I like. Tell them, sign me up for life. Tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Come tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to go. Come tell them we always on. For every moment when you want more. Tell them we always on. Stay connected when you want to roll.
Before we wrap up, we take a moment each day to check in with our neighbors across the region. There's always a story worth paying attention to. Here's today's regional headline.
Saint Kitts receives first U.S. deportees. Saint Kitts and Nevis has received its first group of third country nationals transferred from the United States under a bilateral migration agreement. Government officials confirmed that 3 CARICOM nationals from Jamaica and Belize were scheduled to arrive in the Federation on May 19th. The transfer falls under a memorandum of understanding between Saint Kitts and Nevis and the United States, dealing with certain CARICOM nationals who violated U.S. immigration rules. Officials stressed that the individuals are not criminal convicts and said the arrangement comes at no cost to the government of Saint Kitts and Nevis. Once in the Federation, the individuals are to be processed through immigration and security procedures and granted the legal status normally available to CARICOM nationals. Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew has previously said Saint Kitts and Nevis would only accept CARICOM nationals without criminal records and would not accept deportees from Haiti. The issue is drawing wider regional attention as other Caribbean governments have also discussed or entered similar arrangements with the United States. Supporters describe the agreements as controlled migration and security cooperation. Critics, however, are questioning transparency, long-term responsibility, and the wider implications for small Caribbean states.
Welcome back. Each day we take a moment to go beyond the headlines and look deeper into the issues, people, and conversations shaping life here on St. Martin.
Welcome to today's NEWSDESK feature.
Cannabis legalization in St. Maarten is no longer just a question of whether the island should legalize. It has become a bigger question of control. Who controls the process? Who benefits from the industry? Who protects public health? And who makes sure the final law is truly built for St. Maarten? The debate intensified again after TEAT Minister Grisha Martin defended the ongoing cannabis legalization process, saying the current government inherited the framework and contractual obligations from a process that began under the previous administration in 2022. According to the minister, the original request for proposals sought a partner that could help develop both the legal and operational framework, while also potentially participating in the industry afterward. Native Nations was selected under the process before the current administration took office. That explanation matters because one of the biggest public concerns has been conflict of interest. If a private company helps shape the legal framework and later benefits commercially from the same industry, the public will naturally ask, is this policy being written for the people or for the investor? The minister says government is working within an inherited contract and has negotiated additional benefits, including a proposed financial contribution toward a local non-profit and agricultural development initiatives for farmers. She also framed the cannabis effort as both an economic and judicial matter. But that has not ended the debate. Parliament has already heard concerns about how the model would work, especially around tourism projections, local farmers, and the role of Native Nations. Reporting from the parliamentary debate noted that the proposed arrangement would not require upfront government costs, but would compensate Native Nations through a 10-year concession to operate key parts of the industry, including cultivation, processing, testing, and distribution. The same report said the company would contribute $750,000 annually to a local foundation supporting social, economic, and environmental initiative. Supporters see opportunity. They argue that cannabis already exists in St. Maarten but remains largely uncontrolled. Regulation could bring it into the open, create standards, generate revenue, support farmers, reduce illegal market activity, and build a new tourism-related economic sector. And there is regional movement. The People's Tribune reported that St. Maarten's legislation has been stuck at government's Legal Affairs Department for almost a year, while several Caribbean neighbors have already moved forward. Jamaica created space for a regulated medical and therapeutic framework. Barbados established a medical cannabis industry. St. Vincent and the Grenadines passed reforms aimed at a regulated medical sector. Antigua and Barbuda created a Cannabis Act and Medicinal Cannabis Authority. Saint Kitts and Nevis passed cannabis legislation and launched its Medicinal Cannabis Authority in 2025. Dominica has moved on decriminalization for small amounts and limited home cultivation. So St. Maarten is not debating this in isolation. But the island's challenge is specific. St. Maarten is small, tourism-heavy economy with limited land, a sensitive social environment, and public systems that are already under pressure. Cannabis legislation cannot simply copy Jamaica, Barbados, or the Netherlands. It has to answer local questions. Enforcement capacity, youth access, mental health support, agricultural participation, banking compliance, tourism branding, and the balance between local ownership and foreign investment. That concern has been raised before. In 2023, MP Rayon Peterson questioned why a private foreign company needed to be involved in drafting cannabis legislation, asking whether St. Maarten's own Department of Legal Affairs was not capable of creating the law. He argued that cannabis legislation should be from St. Maarten for St. Maarten. That line still sits at the center of the debate because even if legalization moves forward, legitimacy depends on trust. People must believe the process is transparent. Farmers must believe they are not being used as window dressing. Lawmakers must understand the revenue assumptions. Health officials must be ready for the risk, and the public must know who's accountable if the system fails. Globally, cannabis is no small policy issue. The United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime identifies cannabis as the most widely used drug worldwide, which means governments are not dealing with a niche product, but with a large existing market that can either remain underground or be brought under rules. Public health also cannot be brushed aside. Prime Minister Luc Mercelina previously warned against being hypnotized by the dollar, saying St. Maarten needs strong community systems and mental health support before moving too quickly. That caution should not be dismissed. At the same time, endless delay also has consequences. If the illegal market continues unchecked, there are no product standards, no tax revenues, no licensed farmers, no consumer protections, and no real public health oversight. A weak legal system can be risky, but so can pretending the current reality is under control. That is the real tension. Legalization is not automatically progress. Delay is not automatically protection. The question is whether St. Maarten can design a cannabis law that is transparent, locally grounded, economically realistic, and serious about health and enforcement. If government wants public support, it must publish the structure clearly, it must explain the contract, it must show how farmers benefit, it must define the role of tourism, it must state how revenue will be monitored, and it must protect the youth. It definitely must make sure no private partner appears more powerful than the public interest. Cannabis may be an economic opportunity, but only if St. Maarten does not lose control of the process before the law is even passed.
That's all the time we have for today's edition of St. Maarten News Desk. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, new episodes premiere every weekday at 8 a.m. on TV15 and across all our social media platforms. From all of us here at News Desk, we wish you a fantastic week ahead. Until next time, stay friendly, St. Maarten.